Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well on this, what day is it? On this Wednesday afternoon at least where I am. I wanted to come on today because there's something that's been on my mind and it's been bothering me. And, I feel like it's been bothering me for like a few days now, maybe even longer. And I was going back and forth in my mind and in my heart as to whether I should actually speak about this, post a video about it, post anything about it, because I don't like to argue and I don't like drama. I don't like stuff like that. And I didn't want this to be about that. I didn't want this to be about starting drama or arguing, creating conflict. But I feel like sometimes ruffling feathers is necessary. And sometimes ruffling feathers is what can happen when you're speaking your truth. And mind you, that this is my truth. It doesn't mean it's going to be your truth. And quite frankly, you don't have to agree with me. That's not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because it's something that's been on my mind and I need to speak about it and I need to talk. So, it's really just about expression at the end of the day. And trying to see like where I should start. So, I mean, we know the state that we're in. We know what we're dealing with right now with this whole COVID-19 coronavirus thing. And I have to admit that I'm a little bit disappointed with the way that I see some people are handling this. And this isn't directed at one person, it's several people. Some of them I actually know, and some people that I don't personally know. And some of these people would be considered to be in like a certain community of a certain set of beliefs, which I'm just making that clear. These are some people that I follow and they follow me or blah, blah, blah. But I have tons of followers on my page. And some of these people are just what I'm observing on the news, or what I'm observing on, Twitter, or what I'm hearing about. Okay. And I'm a little bit disappointed because I feel like I just feel like it's a shame the level of insensitivity that I'm observing. And I don't feel, I have an issue with it. I have an issue with it because I feel it's a reflection of where we're at. And I'm saying where because we're all connected, right? So there's no isolation here. I'm sorry, I need to get to the point. I'm just like trying to gather my thoughts. I'm observing a lot of people saying things like, well, I don't need to wear a mask because that's not my reality. That's not my reality. I'm seeing people say things like, well, if you work on your emotional body, if you work to heal yourself, if you didn't take vaccines as a child, if you are not fearful, or if you weren't fearful, you wouldn't have been afflicted with this virus, or you wouldn't have the problems that you have now in terms of your physical health. And that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me because I feel like it's insensitive. I feel like it's on some level selfish and self-centered. And I feel like we're better than that. Okay? The thing is, with this whole it's not my reality thing, okay, let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's say that's the case. And with the reality that you're perceiving, maybe for you, this virus isn't real. Maybe for you, this whole thing was planned. In your mind, maybe that's what you believe, let's just say. What about all the people that have passed away from this virus? What about all the families that have been afflicted? And there are some people out there that are saying, well, they're making it up, or, it's not real, or even getting to the point where some people are saying, and this is slightly different than the not my reality thing. I'm just putting this out there. Some people that are saying to doctors, well, you're not a real doctor. Show me your license. It's like, what? What? I mean, this is what we've come to? I mean, really? I don't think that's fair. It is not fair. And now going back to the it's not my reality thing, all because it's not your reality, that doesn't mean that it's not a reality for many people. And since when have we gotten to the point where we've created our own reality to the point where we're in our own little bubble and we're not considering other people and what they're going through, their reality, what they have to deal with on a daily basis? All because something is not your reality, that doesn't mean that other people don't have their own reality. And that also doesn't mean that you have to join them in their reality, what they're perceiving, what they're living on a day-to-day basis. But that does not mean that you turn a blind eye to it. It does not mean that you reject their reality. And it does not mean that you deny their reality. That is not fair. It is not cool. Like, I have a personal issue with that. And I notice that a lot of times this whole not my reality thing is coming from people in the New Age community. And it's like, what is the goal here? What are you trying to do? Okay? You're only trying to make things better for yourself? Now, don't get me wrong. I have said in the past, when we work on ourselves, this is what changes the perception of our reality. So, I mean, I've talked about reality before and perception of reality and creating your own reality. That has come out of my mouth. So I'm not rejecting that, okay? But when is it okay for us to create our own reality and then deny other people's reality? And I feel like this can be said for other issues too. I haven't fully thought about it, so I don't necessarily want to state them here. But there are different examples too where you may be living a different reality than somebody else. But that doesn't mean that the other person is not in their own experience. See, the thing is, even if we're creating our own reality and it's different from somebody else's, that doesn't mean that we shut down other people's experience. This is where we got it all wrong. This is all wrong. Okay? Being in your own reality does not mean saying to other people, well, your reality isn't real. No. Their reality is real to them. And all because you're not living it doesn't mean it's not real for them. And that doesn't mean that you try to shut them down or try to deny what they're going through and say it's not real or it's a ploy or it's a hoax. No. So what do I tell? What do I tell my friend that I was in nursing school with, who is now afflicted or has been afflicted with this virus? What do I tell my friend whose grandmother died from this virus? I've been so blessed that none of my family members and none of my close friends have gone under because of this virus. But there are so many people that maybe I don't personally know, but their lives have still been affected by it. What do I tell that Brooklyn principal that died from this virus? She's gone. Like, what do I tell her family? Well, that's not my reality. Did she work on her emotional body? Did she take vaccines? Was she eating GMO? That's not right. That's not right. Like I said, you don't have to agree with what people say. You don't have to join people in their perception of life. Okay? But that doesn't mean that you deny it, and you just kind of like close yourself off in this bubble. Okay? Now that brings me to my next point about, and I actually discussed this before, um, about, well, this is kind of like two sort of separate but not separate things. People that feel that saying things like, well, if you're sick now, did you work on your emotional body? Are you healing yourself? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you fearful? That is not right, and that is not fair, and it's not helpful either. It's not helpful. Okay? Because let's just say, you have a point there. And, I don't think that it's totally wrong. I think that our emotional and mental health and well-being and our spiritual health affects our physical body. Yeah. Even if that's true, how does saying that to somebody help them in their current situation? How does that change anything? How does that make them feel empowered to do anything for themselves? If anything, you're promoting a victim mindset. Or you're making them feel like they should, not making them feel, but you're planting a seed of sorts, you know? Because if you say that to somebody, let's say that isn't doing stuff like that, that isn't working on their emotional body, that isn't doing this, that isn't doing that, they're not in the mindset to be able to say, well, gee, maybe I should start working on my emotional body and start doing self-healing. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help them because they're not at a certain point on their journey or whatever to be able to take that as being empowering. It is not empowering. It does not help them. See, the thing is, what we have to remember on this path, regardless of how it expresses itself through us, is that if we truly want to help others the way we say that we do, let's just say, because this is important, because I feel like a lot of people that are, let's say, light workers or spiritual teachers or whatever, they want to help people. That's their goal. That's what they want to do. If we really want to help people the way that we say that we do, we have to meet people where they're at. It's not about pushing our ideals on others. It's not about pushing our beliefs on others. And it's not about criticizing people that don't agree with what we do or that are at a state where they're not doing the same thing that we are. Like, it's not about that. If you really want to help people the way that you say that you do, you have to acknowledge their experience. You have to honor where they're at. You can't criticize them and put them down and reject what they're going through. Not my reality. Well, if you had done this and you'd done that, you wouldn't have gotten sick. And because I am working on my emotional body and I am doing this and I am doing that, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm sorry, but none of us in this lifetime are invincible. Like I've said this before and I'll say it again. Something is going to take us out of this world at some point or another. We all die at some point. And something's got to take you out. Whether it be sickness, whether it be an accident. I'm sorry to get grim and morbid here. But it's the truth. It's the truth. Okay? And spiritual people get sick all the time. It happens. It happens. We're in a physical vessel. That's just part of our experience. Okay? And it may not happen to everybody. And if it doesn't happen to you, that doesn't mean that you're more evolved or more developed than the person that it did happen to. Okay? And you don't get a cookie for that. Okay? You don't get a cookie for that. So I don't think it's right to say things like that to people. We're better than that. So what are we going to do? And I'll say this too, because I know there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there. I don't know about all of them, and I haven't dived into them because for me, honestly, that's not the most important thing. If there's anything that I need to be concerned about, Spirit is going to let me know. I'm not diving into these conspiracy theories. I'm sorry, but I'm not. Let's just say the whole thing is planned or whatever, and let's just say that. Either way, Like, by me taking precautions for myself, washing my hands, being clean, whether it be wearing a mask or just limiting my interactions outside, doing that is not going to hurt me. And it's not going to hurt anybody else. Okay? But the other side of this is people saying, well, I'm not going to be controlled like a puppet. If wearing a mask is your idea of being controlled, I think you need to look in a history book. I think you need to observe what has happened throughout time to many different cultures and many different groups of people. If you have an issue wearing a mask and you think that that's the government taking your rights away, you got some serious reading to do. You got some serious reflection to do. Okay? Because there are people in this world that have been through a lot worse. And that really, really got their rights taken away. Okay? So there's that. And let's just say you're wrong. What if you're wrong? If you're wrong about this, and I'm not saying you are. I mean, I'm open. There's a possibility that you're right. There is a possibility there. I'm not totally rigid. I'm very open, and I'm open to hearing people's viewpoints to a certain degree. I don't want people forcing things down my throat, but I'm open. But let's just say you're wrong about it. The way that you're acting is actually doing more harm than good. And that perspective is doing more harm than good, if you are indeed wrong. Okay? There's nothing wrong with washing your hands. With this whole thing, the thing is, I feel like with this whole crisis that we're going through, there's been a lot of unexpected stuff that's happened. And I think that it shows us where, how can I say this? I'm like trying to find my words. There's a lot that we don't know, and there's a lot that we can't control. I feel like that's what a lot of this has shown us, is that there's so much that we cannot control. And then at the same time, there's so much that we take for granted, okay? And things that we feel are always going to be there. But this has shown us that anything can happen in a split second. Certain things can be taken away from us, certain people. And I'm not talking about like just the government. I'm just talking about life. Just life things happening where everything is temporary, and anything could happen. So I feel like I just needed to get this out there, because like with stuff that I've been reading and stuff that I've been seeing people saying, I debated whether I should talk about it, but I had to. And I feel like it's always important to express yourself, so here I am. All right, so I'll see you guys around soon. I'm going to be posting a video soon when this new moon in Gemini hits, so I'll see you then. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.